Hey there, English speakers. Welcome back. Another common mistake, and it's a tricky one. So these are the conditionals, and we're going to go give ourselves an overview of all of the different named conditionals. And then in another video, I'll give you some additional conditionals and also talk about the differences between them. All right, let's get started. So the way that I like to think about the conditionals is in a visual way. Comes from Cambridge, this idea of these categories. So in the horizontal, we have present and future time, and we have past time. And then in the columns, we have real possibilities. And this means something that we, as the speaker, think is possible or likely, and remote possibilities. So things that, as a speaker, I think is unlikely or maybe even impossible. The first named conditional is the zero conditional. And this goes in the present and present future time, and it's a real possibility. This is something like, if you heat water, it boils. So this is kind of more for facts. We'll go into more detail a little bit later on. Another one is the first conditional. Now, the first conditional tends to be more for future time, but it's also for real possibilities. If I eat this, I will feel sick. The next one is the second conditional. Now, the second conditional is strange because we do use the past simple to talk about. Use it if I had more time. But we're actually talking about in the present. But we use the past simple tense to indicate distance in reality. So this is really important to know that we have a difference between tense, the form of the verb, and time, the time that we're using to speak about. So if I had more time, I would read more books. Right? And so if I had more time, but I don't have time. So it makes it a remote possibility. And we don't have one for a real possibility in the past time, just because we can't really change the past. There are sort of forms, but it's very strange. We don't really use this, right? Because we can't really change the past, or at least I can't. But the last one we'll talk about is the third conditional, which is about kind of a remote possibility in the past. If I had known, I would have done something. So this is more for things like regrets, things that we can't change about the past. So again, let's go more into detail. The zero conditional is this present simple, and it's for kind of more facts. If you heat water, it boils. The first conditional, if you drink that, you will feel ill later. So this is more future. Then you have the second, if I had more time, I would read more books. We use the past simple, but we're talking about something in the present. And then lastly, the past. Here's a little bit of a summary of when we use these. But I also want to go into a little bit about some complications. So the form that I keep using is with the if clause first. But you can change the order. So you can put the if clause second. But remember, if the if is first, you need a comma after it. If I had known, comma, I would have told you, for example. Also, this is a mistake that even native speakers make, that in the second conditional, what is the past simple of be for I, right? I was. But when we're using it in the conditional, we actually use an irregular conjugation. This is actually the subjunctive in English. Your language might have it. So the subjuntivo in Spanish or conjuntivo in Italian, for example. But in English, the only way this presents itself is we say, if I were you. Now, as a native English speaker, do I always say, if I were you. No, I do not. But obviously, what is correct and what is used are two different things. So, if I were you is the correct form. If I was you is acceptable. Don't tell grammarians that. And then additionally, we have the mixed conditionals, which are a combination of different ones. And we'll look at those in more detail in a further video. All right, guys, that was a real doozy. Really difficult, this topic of conditionals, but try to make your own sentences, make your own forms, make things that are true for you, and make ones that are funny. This will help you a lot when you're trying to think of how to form a conditional when you're speaking. Having patterns that you can follow quickly is a really great way to speed up your speaking and to speak more correctly. This is what I do as a language learner. Great. Put your examples below and any questions that you might have in the comments. And looking forward to seeing you again in the future. Bye.